Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in your day. Welcome to Wealth Reimagined. I am your host, Mya K, and super honored to be here with you in this financial literacy space on the Family Bloodline Network. So, welcome back. Hopefully, you are back. I hope that you had an opportunity to watch the first episode of Wealth Reimagined and can't wait to hear and read. I actually haven't had an opportunity. As you can see, I am somewhere different. You might recognize my background. You just might recognize my background. But I haven't had an opportunity to jump in. I've been traveling. I had a really fun weekend with family. Got an opportunity to go to Houston. It's actually my first time in Houston. And now I am in Kentucky. You might, like I said, you might recognize my background. So it's really good to be out and about, but hoping that episode 1 was great and helpful and beneficial. And looking forward to reading comments, seeing if there were any questions. Really looking forward to comments and questions so that I can get an idea of just what the needs are in the community. So welcome back. Welcome back. This is part 2. As I said on the prior episode, April is April 2026, and it is Financial Literacy Month. And so Financial Literacy Month is just a time where, I think a lot of people really get a lot of their education and understanding and learning around personal finance. But let's say you already have been doing life, right? And I think it's also a great time not only to learn, but to really kind of take stock of where you are. Where are your finances? What are your financial goals? What are some things you want to change? What are some things you want to learn about? There's just so many different avenues that you could take when it comes to financial literacy and Financial Literacy Month. And so I really wanted to take this, just the opening and introductions to the podcast and what we'll be going over. And for it to really make sense, I wanted to start out with some foundational things that I think are really important to your journey and to your success. Okay, but that's what Financial Literacy Month is all about. Just learning, growing, changing, adjusting, stopping. There might be things you need to stop doing. Maybe some habits you need to break. There may be some beliefs you need to stop believing. So that's what we're here for. That's what it's going to be all about. So really looking forward to comments, questions. So please feel free to leave those as you watch or as you're watching. Go ahead and just drop questions and comments. I promise I'm going to get back to them. I'll be headed back home soon. So I'll have my setup back and be able to really do that and jump into that. So yeah, that I want to just go a brief overview of Financial Literacy Month. I'll probably cover that at the beginning of every episode this month. And then just talk about, financial literacy, what financial literacy actually is, what that means, what it encompasses. So financial literacy is basic money management, basic knowledge, basic understanding how to just navigate, how to protect your money, borrowing options if you get into that, saving, taking control of your spending. Those are examples. And for me, I have a certain level of expertise, and my goal is to get you to where you are financially set up and stable and confident to enter into the more elaborate investing, getting involved in the stock market and S&P 500 and just all the different financial tools that you have for growing and making your money work for you, financial planning, things like that. But you got to have the foundational piece, and that's what we're going to cover on this episode, and really just getting you confident and ready for those next steps. So let's go ahead and get into what I feel. This is my opinion. This is me based off of over 20 years in the banking industry and probably about going on about 16 years in the lending aspect of that, and just things I've observed, things that I have seen, um, things that I feel have hindered people and prevented them from really getting to their goal. Um, and just my opinion of things, important steps that people miss in their journey. And it's those foundational pieces that a lot of people don't really want to do. So last week, we went over what I feel is the very first and most important thing, and that's is you have to get organized. You have to know where your stuff is. You have to be able to locate your documents. You need to know passwords, login usernames, um, websites. You need to know what your policies are, your birth certificates, your social security, your passport. The list goes on and on. And I encourage you to go back if you missed it and listen to that episode to get a little rundown of some ideas and things that you may have in your possession that you either don't know where they are, you need to find them, you need to locate them, you need to put them in a safe space. And so I encourage, if you're going to get organized digitally on your computer, great. Get your folder set up, get your website set up for your accounts. Um, or if you're going to do it old school, get you a file container, a file cabinet, whatever. Either way is fine. You just need to do something. Something needs to be done. It could be a hybrid of both. I'm actually more on the hybrid. I'm also a Zennial, that analog digital, you know, I can do both, right? I'm familiar with both. And so actually the way I'm personally set up is both ways. I have a bit of a system digitally when I'm on my computer, but I also have a pile of important documents, life insurance policies, birth certificates, um, divorce paperwork, marriage licenses, like just things in case I need it. I have it. I know exactly where it is. It's not hard. I know exactly where it is. Trust me, I know where it is. So that was what the first episode was about. It was just about getting organized. So very important. So very important. So I hope you have done that step. If not, please start there. Is as much as I don't care how long it takes. But I will say, because I am all about being productive and efficient, give yourself a deadline. So though I'm gonna be releasing episodes weekly, it might take you longer than a week to get organized. And that is okay. That is fine. But set yourself a deadline. You're gonna hear me talk about goal setting a lot because I believe in it. So set yourself a deadline, get organized. Let's say I'm looking at the date. Get organized. Be sure you have that step done by the end of April. And I'm being really generous with that. But be sure you have it done by the end of April. So April 30th, you should be organized. You should know where all your stuff is. You've had time to order it. You have time to request it. You've had time to get something to put it in. That will give you enough time to get organized. But I promise that's most important. Most important, you're going to understand why in a minute. So you've gotten step one complete. Now it's time to take inventory. So step two, that's what we're going to focus on. The next step. It's time to take inventory of what you found. But there's a goal, because one of the most very, 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 very most important thing about being uh, financially literate is you got to have a budget. It's a dirty word. You got to have a budget. The budget's purpose, while for many people it sounds restricting, it's not. It's actually empowering, especially if it's not upside down, especially if you have more money than you do liabilities. And we'll get into all that next week. But the purpose of taking inventory is to help you get this budget going. So, in taking inventory, what does that mean? So, you've gathered all your documents. Now, we need to figure out, okay, where is all the money coming from? Where are my income streams? You may work a 9 to 5. You may be an entrepreneur. You may do contract work. You may do a 9 to 5 and a part-time job. You might have a little side hustle. All of these you need to be able to account for. Where does the money come? Where is it coming in? Where is it going? Okay, so we're going to start with income. What are your income streams? Okay, there we go. So yeah, we're going to start with your income streams. Um, I listed things assuming that you are actually still working, right? So what if you're retired? What if you're watching and you're retired and you're getting Social Security? Maybe you're collecting pension. Maybe maybe you're of an age where you have to take a certain amount every year from your IRA, your individual retirement account. That's what IRA. Um, and once you get to a certain age, you have to take a required minimum distribution. So you got to take inventory, list all your income sources. You should already know where they are. You should already know what they are because you already got organized last time you watched, right? So, but that's step one. What are all my income sources? Okay. And just be sure you know that. Be sure you know how to log into that. Or write it down. Go ahead and write it down now. Okay, I have my 9 to 5. I have my little side hustle here where I get a couple $100 a week. I have my Social Security. Just go ahead and list that out. That would be number one. And just taking inventory of all your hard work. Next, debts. I'm sure you know about all that, right? Or there even could be some debts you are hiding from. You can't hide from them, and please don't. That just causes more issues down the road. And I will give you a quick example. I actually just recently, man, I had a loan application for a customer who, once I got it, I was very concerned. I was very concerned because of where this person is in life. And they have free and clear home. And they wanted to take a loan out to pay off a high interest credit card. So I'm not knocking that. Of course, if you can save interest on something, you absolutely should because it saves you money in the long run. However, again, concerned about where this person was in life, had a feeling that they probably don't have anyone in their life to advise them of something differently. But regardless, going through the loan process, we get to the end, we get title work back. Title work is just a process where when you are doing a loan against your home, they have to make sure your your home's title is clear. Similar, like if you have a car, like you say you buy and sell a vehicle, you have a car title, and there's all the stuff on the back or sometimes the bottom, depending on what state you're in, where you can assign things over and write things over. So anyway, got to the end, got the title back. There were at least 5 or 6 judgments on the house because of some credit cards that were never paid. And if you own a home, just know your home is more than likely one of, I'll say, your largest assets. And if you are in the US, if you haven't learned yet, you will, that um, they will try to take it. They're going to try to take it somehow. It will not be yours somehow. Okay. They will try to seize it, foreclose it, tax foreclosure. However, So, unfortunately, this individual ended up having a lot of judgments that will prevent um, the closing of their loan if they cannot prove that those either are not theirs or they have been satisfied. So please don't ignore your debts. And we will definitely talk more about that when we get into debts, talking about debt and debt, paying off debts and consolidating debts and things like that. But be sure you know about everything and everybody that you owe: debts, credit cards, personal loans, student loans, unsecured lines of credit, uh, mortgages, um, collections, um, just anybody that you owe. Okay, you can even list if you owe family. You owe any family and friends? List that. I'm sure they want their money back. So list your family, people that you borrowed money from. You know you owe them money. Um, so record your debts. That's the next really most important thing you want to be sure you are aware of. Record what they are, the balance, the monthly payment, the interest rate, if any. And if it's a debt obligation to a um, like a creditor, like a bank, credit card, I want you to also write down. So this will require you to look it up or call and ask. When are you going to get a late fee? And that seems, you probably never heard anybody say that, but it'll make sense in the future. What's your grace period to your payment due date? When are you going to assess a late fee? So if your payment's due on the first, find out, what do I have a grace period? When am I going to get a late fee? So they may say, oh, you have a 10-day grace period for your payment. Cool. Write that down next to that debt. And again, in the future, you will understand why you want to know that. Okay. Because we're going to talk about real life situations. You're going to hear a lot of the same things here that you probably can hear from anybody else, but I'm not being sponsored by anybody. We're going to talk about real life situations. I want you to know about late fees. When will you get a late fee? Do you have a grace period? Yes or no? You need to know that. Same with your utilities, which should be on your list. I'm sorry, I probably didn't say. Utilities, bills. Anybody you owe money to every month, write it down. Do you have a grace period on your light bill, water bill? What point do you get to shut off that you haven't paid? Trust me, it's good to know. We're talking about real life here, real life money situations. Things come up. You're in the process of building your emergency fund. You don't have it yet. You're trying not to use credit cards. You might have to leverage some things. And so it's important that you know that you're not setting yourself back even more. Okay. So know those late dates, the dates before it's late and you're going to access a late fee. Know that. Write that down. Okay. So next, I want you to take inventory of your assets. Let's talk about some assets. So what are assets? Anything of value, anything that appreciates or can appreciate over time, not depreciate. Appreciate goes up, depreciate goes down. We want stuff that's going to go up in value, like a house. A house will appreciate in value. You could pay $100,000 for it, and in 10 years, it might be worth $200,000, depending on where it's located. So your assets are things that are of value. So an asset could be cash. Cash, they say cash is king. So an asset could be cash, but you could have too much cash. If you have too much cash, then that's not good either because your money is not doing anything for you, just sitting there as cash. Okay. But cash, how much liquid cash do you have? Liquidity, meaning it's liquid, it's fluid, you can get to it easy. It's just maybe sitting in a savings account or a money market or emergency fund or high yield savings account. So, how much cash do you have? List out the balances. Is it spread out? Might need to consolidate some accounts. Do you need them to be spread out? Not saying it's a right or wrong answer. Everybody's different, but figure out where your cash, how much cash do you have? Okay. Investments. Do you have any investment accounts? Do you have any? What's the balance? You should already know where the statements are. This should be easy to find because you've already gotten organized, remember? So, what's your investment balances? Life insurance. I hope you have some. If you don't, I know somebody. I know some people that can help you with that. But life insurance. Um, your life insurance should you should be able to know exactly how much life insurance you have. And if you have a policy that can hold value, you should know how much of that is available to you. Um, and you should also know how those policies work. I would encourage you too, if you have been someone to buy credit life insurance, credit insurance. So sometimes they'll sell that to you on a loan, credit life. I don't know if they sell it. It just really depends on the bank. But I think credit unions probably sell it quite a bit. But understand the terms of it. Y'all can't just be out here signing stuff and you don't know what you're signing. And if you don't understand, ask the questions. Stop signing stuff when you don't understand. I don't care if you don't understand. I want you to understand. I don't want you signing something you don't understand. That person sitting across from you, their job is to explain it to you. And if they can't explain it to you to where you understand, you need to find somebody that can. That's their job. That's what they're paid to do. That's what you need to have them do. But stop signing stuff you don't understand what you're signing. It's okay not to know. It's okay. For real. It's okay. I would rather you ask. Please ask. Okay. So, life insurance. Be sure you know. Like I said, you should already know where the papers are, but know how much you have. Okay. This is an asset. This is an asset. So some people think their cars are assets. That's up for a debate. Generally, a car is not an asset, but there are some cars that could be. There are some people that have, they old school. They keep it up, fixed up. It's a show car. Um, it could have some value if it has been, redone and just kept really nice. It could be an asset, but generally, your car is not an asset. Your car is especially not an asset if you've added a whole bunch of aftermarket stuff to it. I'm not saying don't do it. It's your car, but don't expect to get out of it what you've done to it. And the reason you're not going to get out of it what you've done to it is because don't nobody, I don't want to say no, don't nobody. Not everybody wants what you did to your car. So that makes it hard to sell. Okay. So your car, again, if you have like some beautifully refurbished, well kept, old antique type vehicle, that could very much be an asset in your portfolio. And let me think. Retirement. What again? You're organized, so you already know where these papers are. You already know these logins. How much do you have in your retirement so far? Retirement could be your 401k. your 401, what they call it, 403B, your TSP. If you have any IRAs, individual Roth or traditional IRA accounts, what's your balance in your retirement so far? Okay. And then any other assets. There may be something I didn't name. You may have something else that's an asset. You might have some land. I'm sorry, I skipped. I said it at the beginning, but I completely skipped uh, real estate. I apologize. Real estate is also an asset. List your properties, homes, condos. I don't care if they're international. These are assets. Land. Now I'm going to go to other, right? Though land could be real estate, right? You may have undeveloped land, you may have some developed land, but it could still be under real estate. But then let's go to other assets. I don't know, I'll be honest, don't know a ton about how like RVs keep their value, trailers, camper trailers, and things like that. But if you have something like that, a fifth wheel, something like that, that could be. I don't know if you have little fun wreck vehicles or ATVs or Sea-Doos and all that listed. I don't think they are appreciating, but you can still list it. Your boat, you see if you have a boat. I want a boat. If you have a boat, jewelry, art, gold, silver, something that's a collectible, you can list those things too. But I just want you to take inventory. The primary takeaway here is take inventory of what you have. You should know what you have. Because once you've totaled the value of all these things, your taking of inventory of what you have, you can now know your net worth. Well, that's part of it, part of your net worth. Because we'll get into the other side of your asset statement, which will be liabilities. But it's good to know kind of what you have, right? I got this much in cash, I got this much in investments, I have this much in life insurance, this much in real estate, this much stuff in retirement. I have these other assets. Within, be sure to list the value. So on things where you have like accounts, cash, retirement, investments, be sure to list balances, total amounts that you have. On something like your home, your life insurance, um, those collector cars, or if you have like campers, things like that, those other things, value, jewelry, art, list the value. And you're going to total the balances and the values of all your assets that you've done now on your inventory list. And that's net worth. Well, that's your worth, your assets. That's your assets. So, and that's part of the equation of figuring out your net worth. So that'll be part of that calculation. But that is your homework. That's your homework for this next time. Okay. So that's your homework. I want you to take inventory. You've gotten already, you already organized. I already know it. So now you're gonna take inventory and figure out part of that equation so we can figure out your net worth. Okay. So I'm super excited. I even if this is something you've never done, it can be very eye opening. It really can. It can be very eye opening to see. Well, I got this much in cash, or you might be like, "This is all I got in cash." You know what I mean? Like it could be eye opening and just hopefully getting those. Oh my God, I'm seeing them. Never mind. It's getting things going in here in your mind. I need them to start going in mine so I can remember what I'm trying to say. But it's just hopefully it's getting thoughts going and you're thinking about some goals or maybe something's been eye opening. It's revealed something to you. So, yes, that's step two. And trust me, this matters. This matters in your financial journey and you setting your goals. So that's all I have. I can't wait. Please leave comments, ask questions. Let me know if I didn't explain something well or you want to know a little bit more. It might be something worth making a whole episode on, but that's my time for now. So uh, until next time. So remember, you should be organized by this point, and now you're getting ready to take inventory of everything that you've gathered. And this will set you up for what we're going to discuss next week. So I'm looking forward to having you join me back. Thank you for spending this time with me today. And until next time, I will see you later. Have a great night. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.